Namaste. Vaishaka Shuddha Saptami is Bhagavan Swami Vidyaranya's Jayanti. Bhagavan Swami Vidyaranya is one of the greatest sannyasis, greatest visionaries, greatest prime ministers of our Dakshinapatha Samrajya. Before he became Swami Vidyaranya, the pontiff, the Jagat Guru of Sringeri Sharada Pitha, for a very long time he served as the Prime Minister of the Vijayanagara Samrajya. Of course, I am talking about the great Madhavacharya. Madhavacharya was the greatest visionary who rebuilt the Sanatana culture in the whole of southern Bharata. The 12th, 13th century, probably the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th centuries, they were the periods when our Bharatavarsha faced the most dramatic experiences. We had a lot of the invasions coming from the Middle East and destroying our temples, destroying our culture. A lot of genocide happened and forced conversions were happening, and many big kingdoms lost their power to these mlechas. And as the armies, particularly of Alauddin Khilji, marched southwards, the Kakatiyas, then the Yadavas of the Devagiri, then the Pandyas of Tamil Nadu, they lost their powers, and many of their beautiful structures, devalayas, their kingship, their system, the whole Sanatana Samaja with its economic setup, trade setup, its culture, customs, everything was destroyed and devastated. And the last to fall prey to this was King Ballala of the Hoysala, King Ballala III of the Hoysalas, who actually won the war against Jalaluddin, but that demonic person, he cheated the king in the pretext of a friendly treaty and destroyed him. And a lot of the Karnataka temples, the Devalayas also were destroyed. So it was a very traumatic period when the whole of Dakshinapatha was reeling under the pain of devastation and destruction. And our dharma, our culture, our lifestyle, our economy, our trades, everything was upset. It was all shuffled, and there was no leader to rebuild all this. It was then that we see this Madhavacharya rose. Madhavacharya was the son of Madhava Bhatta, who belonged to the Rajapurohita clan. They were the Rajapurohitas of the Sangama clan, the Sangama dynasty, of which the eldest was Bukkaraya and the second was Harihara. And they were very efficient young princes. But the whole of Dakshinapatha was so disorganized and so much so totally disturbed. And this was when young Madhavacharya, who was tutored under the great Sri Vidyatirtha Swamiji, Sri Bharati Tirtha Swamiji, the Swami Shankarananda and Sri Kantanatha, all these great gurus, and he was widely travelled. He had seen people, he had seen the society from near. He had his own great insights. He was highly learned, a genius in all the Vedas, Vedangas, Vedantas, and he had a perfect understanding of the Chatushashti Vidyas. He knew the Lalita Kalas, fine arts. He was a great musician himself, and he had great acumen to understand the problems of a society and look for solutions for the society. He had great interest in all the fine arts and as well as the agriculture and many aspects to make a kingdom prosperous. So he was both in the Vedanta and the Laukika Vidyas. He had great expertise, and he was supported by his very, very dynamic brother Sayanacharya, who was also a scholar par excellence. So Madhavacharya took to hand the pioneering the change of the whole of Dakshinapatha. With the support of the Sangama brothers and his great brother Sayanacharya, Madhavacharya, he went across the Dakshinapatha and connected to every small clan, every kingdom, every devastated part of the whole Dakshinapatha, and particularly the existing big empire was Hoysala, but it was also in shatters. So with no war, with no conflict, with no rift, no problem at all, with his negotiation skills, with his superb statesman capabilities, he united the whole of Dakshinapatha, and very smoothly the transfer of power happened from the Hoysalas to the Sangama brothers, and lots of smaller feudal kings, they all connected to the Vijayanagara Samrajya, and this great Samrajya was built with its very important capital at Hampi. And Vijayanagara Samrajya was a great phenomenon. With the Vijayanagara Samrajya, the military might of the whole of Dakshinapatha was greatly increased. Madhavacharya not only nourished very great armies which destroyed all the Mlecha Shaktis which were torturing the Sanatana Samaja. He made all the boundaries very strong. We had many regional capitals in the Karwar region, in the Tamil Nadu region, in the Andhra region, in southern Karnataka region. Everywhere there were smaller capitals, smaller places where there were armies and military powers safeguarding the borders. And lot of lands were got back by hundreds of battles were fought, and all was regained. And after this, lot of temple Devalaya revival happened all across Tamil Nadu, all across Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka and Karwara regions. The great temples that we see, the glorious temples, they were all revived by Madhavacharya's patronization. So they were all revived, the temple cultures were revived, the dance, music, drama, all these temple arts were revived, and great revival happened in the field of agriculture. The economical revival happened, many trades were revived, and Madhavacharya, with his great acumen and generosity, he invited the scholars and traders and artists from all across Bharatavarsha to come and settle in the Vijayanagara Samrajya and pursue their arts, pursue their trades, pursue their vidyas. This is how many people came and settled here. And with Sayanacharya as a leader, he created a big group of very, very erudite scholars who rewrote many of the Shastras that were lost. The whole of the Veda Bhashya was composed by Sayanacharya's leadership, one of the best treatises that we have today. And Madhavacharya himself wrote so many great compositions like the Vedantic books like Vedanta Panchadashi and others. And then he also wrote a book called Sangeeta Sara, which is unfortunately not available, but very heavily quoted by other great musicians and treatises. And then he also wrote the Madhava Kala Madhaviyam and Vyavahara Madhaviyam, books on statecraft, books on home remedies, books on time and assertion of time, books on Vedanta. Apart from this, he encouraged lots of scholars and poets to write books on different aspects of life, like poetic literature came up and Shastric literature came up. Although Madhavacharya himself belonged to the Advaitic tradition, he was so generous. He encouraged the composition of books on the Vishishtadvaita tradition, on the Dvaita tradition, and the Veerashaiva tradition. The Kalamukha Madhaviya tradition also was encouraged. All these cults, all these schools of thoughts, whether they contradict with his or not, but everything was encouraged. They were all patronized, and all the customs, the Panchayatana Puja, they were all brought back. A very, very holistic revival of the whole kingdom was done. And of course, the trade and economy was highly boosted. Lots of tanks were built, lots of lakes were revived, and lots of temple embankments and ghats were made. River embankments and ghats were made. And the administration was really very, very good under Bukkaraya, under the efficient prime ministership of Madhavacharya. So this was the beautiful saga of the Vijayanagara Samrajya. For many decades, Madhavacharya led, pioneered the change, the revival of the Sanatana society all over Dakshinapatha. Hampe was in Karnataka, of course, but that was only the center of the whole of the southern Bharata. And towards the end of his life, towards his 80th year or more, he accepted sannyasa and he became the Jagadguru of the Sringeri Matha. And even after that, he continued his Vedantic practices, and his advice was always sought after. And Sayanacharya became the next prime minister. And it was because of this foundation, very strong dharmic cultural edifice, which was laid by Vidyaranya Bhagavan, that later on the Vijayanagara Samrajya grew into one of the most prosperous kingdoms of the world ever. Many travelers who came have talked very highly about this great empire, which was very rich, very strong, very prosperous, very culturally vibrant, very multifaceted, dynamic. Thanks to Bhagavan Vidyaranya's wonderful leadership, all this was done. Why is it important for us to study the life and achievements of Bhagavan Vidyaranya? Because it gives us the inspiration, it gives us the foresight, it gives us the idea as to how everything that we lost can be revived and rebuilt. So with nothing, which shatters, with such trauma in the society, the great Madhavacharya, who later became the great Bhagavan Vidyaranya, he led the society, he woke up the society, and he led it to great excellence. So for more than 280 years, a great kingdom flourished because of the strong edifice laid by Bhagavan Vidyaranya. It's time that we read our such great icons, such great leaders, such great visionaries, how they worked, how they thought, how they foresaw, how they led, how they pioneered change, how they organized people. It's high time we learn from these great icons and draw inspiration and build a great Bharatam. So that is the inspiration that Bhagavan Vidyaranya can give on his birthday, which is supposedly Vaishaka Shuddha Saptami. Let's specially remember and do namaskars to this great leader, to this great sadhu, sannyasi, to this great visionary, great darshanika who gave us everything for Bharatavarsha. Namaste.